Welcome to the rebrand of what is a podcast,
Welcome to
which was formerly
it was formerly Understeer.
Understeer Podcast, but we have decided to go a different approach.
I mean, cars are still gonna be a thing, but I mean, it's not really that good. It's not gonna be our focus.
Nah, it's not. I mean, we have more important things to talk about.
Yeah.
And you want to start us off with our first topic?
So, I mean, you brought it up first with
Which one do you want to talk about? You want to talk about Juice World?
Juice World. I mean, it sucks. It sucks that I have to
Rest in peace, first
like,
of all.
Yeah, like it sucks that I have to beat a dead rapper. So,
but we got a few words to say.
and it's not Juice World's fault. It's not Juice World's fault that it's like this.
It's not.
It's the idea of people behind it. It's the idea that people are listening to Juice World and they're just like, oh, I just understand him, dude. He's dead. Like he's dead. What is there to understand? He's dead.
They're probably like, well, I understand what he meant in his song. Like, I understand his feelings when he wrote this, or something like that.
What is there to understand? It's a guy that does hard drugs, and only every single one of his songs talks about how depressed he is, and what type of, or how depressed he was, and how he was doing hard drugs, and how hard drugs were gonna kill him. And the funniest part is he even calls out his own crowd, and he's like, y'all don't even listen. Y'all aren't even listening to what I'm saying. You don't even care about me. I'm just depressed and all that sort of stuff, and y'all don't even care.
They're like, I feel you.
It's like, let's just say somebody's like, yeah, I want to kill myself, and another guy goes, same. Like, what's that's not supposed to help. Like, you're supposed to go and help these people. Like, yo, you're depressed. What's going on? Is there anything we can do to help? Like, do you want to talk about it? That sort of thing. And it's just
the problem with the people who listen to him are actively encouraging the behavior, which shouldn't be that way. It should be actually seen as like, oh, he needs help, or this person who's listening to this artist needs help.
And it's not even that. It's the people that fake it. It's the people that are like, they're like, oh, I'm so depressed. Like, oh my good, like I just can't. Then and go kill yourself. Go kill yourself then. If you were that depressed and you were so related to him, why don't you go join him?
Yeah.
Why don't you go join him? Like if it's really that big of a deal, why don't you go join him? Like, you're not depressed. You're just thinking that you're depressed. It's all in your freaking mind.
Yeah, I mean, those types of people, they're not looking to feel better. They're just looking for attention.
Yeah, it's attention. What they seek is attention. Like, the big joke back then was like, they're like, oh, these goth girls, like they cut this way for attention and this way for results. And it's like, the funniest part is the people that are actually depressed are the ones that are usually the life of the crowd. They're usually the ones that are always like happier. Like Robin Williams, that's a perfect example of like a person that we didn't even know was depressed. He just always seemed happy, and then all of a sudden just
like that.
Yep, just like that. So I mean, it's just so, and it's like you guys aren't even helping the situation. You aren't even raising awareness. You're not even raising awareness for suicide. What you're doing is you're normalizing being depressed. You're normalizing that sort of thing, and now you and everybody else and their mother is acting like they're depressed, and then nobody's gonna want to help you because you're just the boy that cried wolf.
You're just now being one of many, and you're not really like singling yourself out. You're just like everybody else.
It's like one of those.
And it's like, why bother?
I'm not like those other girls.
Yes.
I'm not like those other girls. I watch anime and all that sort of stuff. Like those other girls don't. It's like everybody watches anime.
This guy doesn't.
And I mean, don't get me wrong. Like anime can be like. I used to watch it. Like when I was a kid, I remember when Naruto first like came out to like the US, and it was like on Cartoon Network. Like that was the first place I actually like got introduced to. It was like Cartoon Network. Yeah, it was Cartoon Network, and I was just playing those online games that were on Cartoon Network, and then all of a sudden I saw like the streaming side of things where I was like, oh cool, I can actually like watch episodes or little clips of it. And one of like the streamable videos was Naruto. So I was watching it, and my brother ends up seeing it. He starts watching it, and then it was just like we started watching it together. And then I stopped because Naruto sucks now. And just generally the whole demographic of people that watch it is just disgusting. Like after a while I started to despise anime and all that sort of stuff because of the people that were really watching it.
Mm-hmm.
It was the people that were watching it. Like I specifically remember going to Barnes and Noble back when, I think a few years ago, there was this, I just smelled something. It just smelled like absolute complete body odor. Just grease, body odor, just disgustingness. I could smell them from 3 aisles away. And I'm like, that smells bad. And all of a sudden this girl's like, oh, Nichan, what do you think about this manga? I was like, oh, hell no. Like, oh my god. And it was a neck beard, and like this woman
god,
who was
no.
like not fat beard, but morbidly obese.
Oh no.
And they smelled absolutely horrible. Like whatever bridge they crawled under, it was just absolutely awful. And these people just act like they can just forget their own culture and just hop into Japanese culture as if they're not one of the most xenophobic cultures in the whole world. Like literally they will not accept foreigners into, like certain stores will not accept you in because you are a foreigner. Like, they do not like you. They do not want you here. Their island is already overpopulated. They don't want more people. Like, it's just absolutely awful.
I didn't really like have an experience like that with weebs, because like it was recent when I was introduced to anime. Like I really didn't watch it as a kid. And I didn't know it was a thing until like around my high school days, and I'm just like hearing that there's this group of people who talk like this and that want to like make it their whole lives, buying a bunch of katanas and
oh god,
buying waifu pillows and doing certain things to them. It's just like, what went wrong here? What happened? And it kind of made me not want to watch anime. That's why to this day I still don't watch it. I mean,
yeah, I mean, I came from a different area because like, since I grew up with it as a little kid, we went to like Akon and all that sort of things, and like I got to see how
you got to experience.
I got to experience it. Like it was just bad. Like sure, like cosplays are cool. Like certain cosplays are cool.
I see that and I'm like, oh, that's a fun thing to do, you know?
Yeah, cosplaying is
Like,
a really
it's
cool thing.
not-
Like, more power to you. I dated a cosplayer before. Like, absolutely one of the coolest people I've ever met.
They're creative. They're active. They're actively doing something. They're
Yeah.
trying to find how to
I
how to
they
dress
can,
like a certain character
they can
and
turn
everything.
themselves into a almost exact replica of
A
that
cartoon.
that cartoon or that anime
Uh-huh.
with just like styrofoam and wood and
Yeah,
paint.
and that's creative. That's doing something at least.
But if you just grab like a cherry blossom kimono and wear just that and think that just talking like they don't even speak Japanese. They just talk like they're in dub. They just talk like they're in like an anime dub.
They're like ara.
They're like, you can't offend me like this.
They go. So
And it's like, it's just so bad. Like, what do they expect? Do they expect to just? Do they expect to go to Japan and then all of a sudden act like the subtitles are still going to be there? Like, what's going on? Like, subtitles don't happen in real life, buddy.
I got another topic after this, but we'll keep going. We'll keep going.
So I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. And the funniest part is they always talk about how they want to go to Japan and all that sort of stuff. It's just they don't have jobs. They don't have jobs. So how they're never going. And thank goodness they're not. Thank goodness they're not. Because that would be the exact same. Could you imagine if all of them went over there and then all of a sudden Japanese people got so offended that they just created like this whole like Japanese people just started watching only Seinfeld and Friends.
Mm-hmm.
And then they just only talked like they were in Seinfeld and Friends and all that sort of stuff. Or like, well, Always Sunny in Philadelphia is not really a good example, but still, it's like, imagine if they watched only American sitcoms or only like Wild West films. If they only watched those and all that sort of stuff, and they came to America and they're like, "Howdy, my name is my name is my name is Gene Autry. I am a cowboy." Dude, you're in New York, bro. You're in New York. And it's like I can rag on them a little bit because like I'm Asian, so it's like from an Asian person standpoint, I admire people that want to look into Asian cultures. I admire people that want to respect our cultures. However, they are not respectful of our cultures. They're not ever respectful of Japanese culture, of like K-pop stands too. Like they're not they're not respectful of Korean culture. They're not respectful of any culture that they try to dive bomb. Like it's just absolutely atrocious. And I mean, you can enjoy anime and you can enjoy all these sorts of things without being a nuisance. You can enjoy every single one of those things. You can speak our language, but don't try to assume that you know more than everybody else about it. Don't try to assume that you're better than every single one of us because of it. Like it's just, I mean, at this point, racist.
Yeah.
So I mean, don't generalize it just because you watched a bunch of big titty 15-year-olds on
Okay, what do you think about hentai?
hentai. I don't even watch porn, so it's that.
But like the thought that like people enjoy that and like,
Well, I mean,
you know,
the thing is, people are going to enjoy what they enjoy, and
obviously.
yeah, it's just like there's nothing we can really do about it. It's not my cup of tea,
Mm-hmm.
but it doesn't mean that I'm gonna judge it. Because I mean, I have a few skeletons in my closet too. Like there's some things that I like that certain other people wouldn't like.
Yeah, that's everybody.
So I mean, the only issue is when do you get addicted to this sort of thing?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's why I don't watch porn. That's why I don't especially watch hentai, because I mean, if porno is unrealistic, which it is,
Mm-hmm.
then hentai is especially that. Up to the
It's
point
like another
where
layer of
it's
unrealism.
like just a whole nother layer of just this unrealistic expectation.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, we often like to fantasize about fantasy being brought into our regular lives when
Reality.
none of it is realistic.
Mm-hmm.
None of it is absolutely realistic. Like, you can't go get a submissive Japanese waifu somewhere just out there. Because, I mean, like I said before, none of us act like that. It's a script. It's an act. It's all an act.
People kind of like blurred the realism with fiction because they want the fiction to be real. So they're kind of blending blending it into a spectrum when it's like, no, this is real, this is not. You know?
Yeah, exactly. And it's like you want something so much that you try to manifest it and turn it into a reality.
Yeah.
But to a certain degree, it doesn't become possible. It's not possible.
That's what's the problem here.
Yeah, it just doesn't become possible.
Mm-hmm. Bro, you had that all the way up.
No,
you're screaming over here.
I was trying to like turn it up and then turn it down and try to
oh,
play with the
you're just
audio a
playing
little
with
bit.
it.
Yeah.
Wait, so if I go all the way up, hey, is this bad? Yeah, I'm so sorry. Oh my god.
I'm gonna go to the second. I'm gonna go to the second one, but that's because I'm like sitting further away so I can fit.
Oh
in the
yeah,
camera
no, I should
frame.
probably lower it because I'm closer. I like to make sure that my voice is heard. I might want to do some ASMR, you know. In the meantime. What do you? Oh, he's getting ready for some ASMR.
Please don't.
Okay. Okay. Oh god.
Oh shit.
Oh my god. So we can see the audio from here, and we just saw some spikes. That's
Yeah, we don't have like an audio guy because we don't need one. So
No, we need one.
I'm trying to play it off.
Nah, but yeah, we're working on it. You know, this is our first. I mean, this is a remodel first of all, and this is our first. You know, you were just experimenting. I mean, obviously, we're not gonna get it right the first time.
No, not at all.
Yeah, nah. Bear with us if y'all are still watching. You probably clicked off already. No, I'm just kidding. To those who clicked off, fuck you. Can we?
I mean, they won't know the difference anyway because they clicked off. But I mean, go off.
Yeah, I'm going off, bro.
But
fuck these motherfuckers. They don't want to listen to us. We're speaking facts over here.
Exactly. Like it only makes sense.
It only makes sense that they keep watching.
So
it makes more sense if they subscribe.
Yeah, exactly.
Boom. All right, so I do want to talk about what happened was it in the Grammys?
Yeah,
the
Grammys. The Grammys.
See, there's this like Spanish speaking artist that's been kind of being quite famous in the past I want to say 3 years.
Yeah, his name might be his name might be Bad Bunny. You might have heard of him.
Benito for his government name.
Benito Martinez.
But tell us what happened in the Grammys here.
So, Bad Bunny was selected to sing, like perform. And like say a speech.
Mm-hmm.
And he sung in Spanish because that's just his music, and that's his whole like thing. Like, you can't I mean, the only person that really tried, like really succeeded with like the whole mix between Spanish and English was like Selena, but she's dead now.
Rip.
Make R.I.P. Rest in peace. Like, she's a queen. But Benito was trying to sing.
Mm-hmm.
And the subtitles, you would expect like it would pop up in Spanish because they would have a Spanish translator, at least somebody that would be able to just type it out, because that's just how English works.
And the Grammys are pretty big, you know, professional.
Yeah, they're professional
and prepared for any.
I mean, you would expect that they would be nothing but an internet. Like, you would expect them to be anything.
Fuck, I keep getting a cramp on my leg. It's so annoying, and I keep hitting the table. God damn it! It's
boom.
Yeah. They can't see it, but I keep getting a cramp and I have to stretch it. Shut up! Oh, he's awake. He could probably be our audio guy now.
Yeah, since he wants to message us and fuck everything up.
We could probably do like 2 podcasts.
Yeah.
Fuck it. All right. So next episode we're gonna have an audio guy. Anyways.
Well, he was trying to sing, and then all of a sudden it shows up, singing in non-English.
Singing in non-English.
Like what is that? You couldn't even say like singing in Spanish. You couldn't be like, you couldn't.
Yeah, there's so many layers.
There's so many ways you could have done this
There's
better. There's so many
of-
different ways.
No, there's so many. I'm trying to say there's so many layers of like the disrespect. Like not only did you not get an interpreter for Spanish, like a Spanish speaker to translate or not translate. Okay, wait. There's so many layers because like it could have been someone that understands Spanish, typed it in English. Okay, there could have been a Spanish speaker who wrote the lyrics in Spanish. There could have been someone
You could have went on.
said
You could have went on
singing in
Genius.
Spanish.
You could have went on Genius.
You could have went on Genius.
Yeah, you could have went on Genius lyrics and
I
done
didn't
this.
even think of that. Literally, you have many monitors. I'm pretty sure the guy who was typing has
And like
many monitors.
this is a
Access to-
multi-million-dollar.
Access to Wi-Fi, and could have looked it up.
And they had months in advance for this.
In hours, they had minutes, they had time.
They had
It's
basically
not like out of nowhere he showed up and said, "Hey, I'm here." Oh no, or "Hola, estoy aquí." Because he speaks Spanish.
because he speaks non-English.
Because he speaks non-English, and he didn't just come out of nowhere. No, this was planned.
This was all planned out, and basically the rundown is the fact that he has no excuse. Like
He doesn't. No.
like the Grammys have no excuse for any of this. Like,
Exactly. Damn.
and I hate to use the word again, but that's nothing short of racist.
There's 2 cats fighting back here. Anyways.
Living my life. Happens at 3 a.m. too. It's really fun when that happens.
Way, really?
Yeah, like 2 or 3 a.m. you can hear them.
Anyways, yeah, there's so many layers of disrespect, and you can't defend yourself. You just gotta accept the L.
and the funniest part is nobody's like apologized. Nobody's like made up for it yet.
Who would apologize? Like, is it the
Producers,
like who?
the producers, the sponsors,
The
etc.
interpreter, the one who literally wrote it down.
Well, clearly they didn't have an interpreter.
Obviously, but
Yeah.
whoever wrote the caption or whoever's in charge of that, producers, the host,
Hopefully they're fired.
uh,
But who's even to know?
or demoted or something, like some consequence to this problem that they had, and this, like, they haven't come out with anything.
Yeah,
Well, I haven't seen it.
and the funniest thing is, like, Hollywood and celebrities are like so inclusive. They act like they're so inclusive, and they're just like, we want to fight for human rights
It's all an act.
and all that sort of stuff. But I have yet to see anybody say anything about it besides like Latin American artists and Latin American celebrities. And the funniest part is the loudest voice is Bad Bunny. The loudest voice talking about this is Bad Bunny.
All he had to do was post it, and people backed him up.
Exactly. And it's like the people, like the thing that I notice is the fact that when we had like the whole Latinx thing going on, like
I don't want to get started with
everybody that was Hispanic or Latin American or anything like that, which, I mean, you can be Hispanic and not Latino or Latina.
Yeah, there's a literal Venn diagram about that. But.
Yeah, like there's like a whole like trinity of like what, because like you can be Latin American and not speak Spanish, but
Yeah,
you can't be
'cause it's,
Hispanic
the
and then not speak
difference.
Spanish.
Yeah.
But you also don't have to live in Latin America to be Hispanic. So it's like a weird dynamic.
The non-Hispanic explained that and I probably couldn't have been able to explain that.
Yeah. So it's like weird.
It's so weird.
It's such a weird dynamic.
I honestly don't
But
give a fuck.
then a bunch of people, I don't know who did it. I don't know if it was like a No Sabo kid. I don't know if it was like a white person that just thought, hey, let me change the language.
That literally annoys me so much.
And it's like, oh, let's just call it Latinx. That sounds like a cleaning product.
Yeah.
It sounds like a cleaning product. like Windex. Latinx? Seriously?
Clorox.
Clorox. Like it doesn't. It doesn't make any sense. Or like when they tried to ban Speedy Gonzalez, and then and then literally people all over the world that were able to speak Spanish or were from Mexico or from like that region of the world, they all signed petitions saying, hey, bring him back. What are you guys doing? Bring him back. It's not racist. We love him. Like, we love him. Bring him back. And it's always funny.
But that's what I also think. Like, people shouldn't be having to sign petitions. No, just ignore it. Just ignore that. And then whenever someone comes up to you and tells you or says that to
well,
you,
the funniest part is it's white
like,
people.
It is.
It's
any woke person. I'm not gonna put a specific color to it.
Oh no, it's white people.
Oh, it's look.
It's mostly white people that are trying to fight battles for us, which
exactly.
I like. It's okay to stand up for other people. However, you shouldn't.
People take it in
they take it
direction.
way too differently. They take it way too seriously.
So annoying.
It's just really annoying because it's like
extremely annoying.
Yeah, and the
I don't see it in my daily life, but like seeing it in the internet, that's kind of why like I'm honestly like I don't care.
And like
because if I don't see it in my inner circle in my daily life, I'm like I really don't care.
And it's like
people can
the
do
funniest part
the fuck
is
they want, you know?
The funniest part is why don't we respect them even more and then just use their language, because like we would have to address them as Latinos because it's talking about every person in Latin America. We're Latinos.
Yeah.
I mean,
and Spanish is just it's just a language where you use masculine and feminine terms. That's
exactly.
That's how it is.
The way it's supposed to be.
That's just how it is. You can't be making up. It's gotta be like
now. Granted,
it's gotta be like a hybrid of no sabo kid and a white person.
Now, granted, you could possibly change it in a certain way where it works with the language, but.
No,
nobody
don't need to change it.
You don't need to change it, but if it really bothers the whole community that much, then they can, because I mean every other language has been able to evolve. However, you don't evolve by completely ignoring language rules. Not unless you speak English.
Yeah.
Like what people don't understand is not every language is going to be like English. Like I remember there was this Chinese teacher who was trying to like teach the word for that, and the word for that sounds very similar to a certain word that starts with an N and like
wait, what?
represents black people.
Wait, what?
In a very bad light. It's a slur that represents black people. When you say the word that in Chinese, it sounds like the N word.
Yeah, I mean, even what's the translation of you? Wait, what's the language?
In Korean.
Yeah,
and in Korean, like it sounds like the N word.
Sounds like that. Yeah,
but this Chinese teacher got canceled by all these different people on TikTok and such because she said the word that in Chinese. It's like we act like we're so high and mighty.
Mature. They act mature. I'm not counting myself because fuck that.
They act like they are mature, but there's a difference between acting like you're mature and actually being mature.
They act like they're making a good difference. They're acting like they're mature. They're not. They're just simply not.
At one point, people wanted the Spanish language to change the word for black.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They literally changed one of the candy names. Like I don't even don't even eat the candy, but I'm like, why? It doesn't. It's not. It literally.
Wait until they figure out what gorditas are.
It's like I'm stuttering. I'm stuttering because it's so annoying to like a level where like, why even bothers, like say anything, because people are so ignorant nowadays that they won't even listen,
and it's like
you try to put it out there, but people would just turn a blind eye to it.
They act like they're smarter than everybody. Exactly. They act like they are more forward thinking than people, but in the end they end up just showing their ignorance by trying to make decisions for cultures for them.
They're showing their low intelligence more than trying to prove that they're smart.
Mm-hmm.
That's just how it is. And it's sad, to be honest.
Happens every time.
It does. But what can one do? We kind of are.
Yeah, we're kind of. It's a little smoky up here.
We kind of cleared up though. Before we started recording, it was heavy. But you know.
Yeah. Well, damn, we're reaching every single like big issue here.
Yeah, I mean we're going all out right now, and I'm pretty sure there's gonna be more topics to talk about. Like we obviously have not covered everything.
Ooh,
for sure.
Now here's a car topic. I hate to bring it up, but here's a car topic.
No, go on. Don't be shy, bro.
So there's this guy on TikTok. I don't remember his username, but he said that Boost is a trend now. Do you agree with what he says?
Boost is a trend? Could you elaborate?
So like whenever somebody like posts their build on YouTube or something or on TikTok, there's always going to be that one person that's like, yo, put a turbocharger on it. Yo, put a supercharger on it. All that sort of stuff.
Okay.
And you're always going to see them. Like you could post your car right now and somebody is going to go, yo, put a turbo on it. Yeah. And then like I could even post all of my cars which have turbos. In fact, one of them have two. So I mean I own cars with every single car that I've owned has a turbo in it. And somebody is going to go, yo, put a turbo in it.
Yeah.
And it's just endless. It's absolutely endless. So with that being said, do you think that it is becoming a trend?
To say that, or to just I don't even know what the question was. So like,
is Boost becoming a trend? Is it becoming like a thing that people just do because it's trendy?
I just think it's like a little joke. That's all I think about it, really. Like I don't like is the trend installing the turbo only because
because nobody has money for that. And I was even gonna explain.
But is that the trend? Like when someone puts the turbo just because turbo is good, like people think turbo good or supercharger good because people agree.
Well, I mean, they just assume that anything with the turbo is going to be powerful. Meanwhile, I have a Volkswagen Passat TDI that only makes 140 horsepower with a turbocharger.
I guess it's just like, I don't know how to explain, but like, oh man, how do I explain this? Oh, just putting it out there from like on the first episode. I am bad at explaining. Peter can testify. Peter can surely testify. So like I gotta look for the words, and I don't want to leave like pauses during the podcast. So I mean like look, I can't explain, but just there's a long pause. Fuck, man. What are you doing? What are you doing?
I don't know. We've decided to like talk about all the family drama in the world while we've just decided to record. And I mean, it's always funny. It's always funny because every single time we record anything, everything is loud. Absolutely everything in the house is loud. Everything in the house decides to be at full volume. people start walking up the stairs and down the stairs and everything.
It's not good.
I mean, everything just happens.
So about the turbo, right?
Everything just happens, and everything bad happens.
I think turbo is it's starting to become a trend. Yeah,
I think it's becoming normalized. It's sort of like, oh, it makes 1,000 horsepower. Like, oh, they all make 1,000 horsepower. You know how many 1,000 horsepower cars I've actually touched? Maybe two.
Very few.
Two as an automotive as a performance technician.
It's a big milestone.
Yeah, there's 2 cars I might have touched that have made 1,000 horsepower. Like 1,000 horsepower isn't just something that just happens. Like you need upgraded fueling, you need upgraded you need to either bore stroke the engine if you want to do an NA build and go to extremely high compression.
Forged iron.
It's you some of them get NA builds, they get compression ratios of 14-1 or something absolutely ludicrous. We're getting to diesel numbers here, and they might last 5 pulls. Yeah, they might last 5. They might last 5 pulls before they need a new set. But
it's a very expensive way. It's a very expensive thing to do, trying to get to 1,000 horsepower.
Yeah, and really it's so expensive to get to that point, but people are always talking about that.
And thinking about that, people saying oh, yeah, put a turbo on it, and expecting instant.
So here,
hundreds of horsepower increase, and it's no.
So for the people that even have an interest in cars,
who don't know what they're doing.
So people who have at least the slightest bit of interest in cars, let me explain what is required for a turbocharger. The first thing you need to worry about before you even think about buying your turbo parts is software. Software is going to run you about probably 300 to about a few thousand depending on what car you have. If you have a Honda, it may cost you 700 for Hyundai. If you have a Volkswagen, it may cost you 900. If you have a Porsche, it'll cost you thousands of dollars because it runs off of a system called WinOLS, which requires a lot of different things going on. It requires a lot of different things going on. The tuning, the maps don't even look like maps. There's letters and numbers, absolutely ludicrous. Letters and numbers everywhere.
Yeah.
And it's when I open up my laptop and tune on HP tuners, it's just numbers, and it's easy because it's just numbers. But what are the letters supposed to mean? When you open up WinOLS, it's A F F O 0 K or some thing like that, and it'll look like a regular map, but it's just letters and numbers, and it's I can't do this. I can't math with letters. I can't math when there's only letters.
I can testify that he did not pay attention in algebra class.
I did not pay attention at all.
Because I had him sitting next to me in that class, and homeboy was asleep.
Oh yeah, I was asleep.
I have video footage.
Well, I mean, considering the fact that I spent most of my nights over at someone else's house and doing my thing.
Oh boy.
It's. I mean, I had the correct suspicion and I had the correct reasoning.
God damn it! There's the cramp again. I'm sorry. Go on.
But for a turbocharger, the first thing that you're gonna need is, software. Software is the first thing. Then what you got to do is you got to figure out where you're going to get oil lines, where you're going to get coolant lines, where you're going to get an intercooler. And I mean, oil lines and coolant lines require a welder or taps or something. Preferably you would want to weld it because it would just work easier. It's just easier in the end because in the end it's just it won't fall off. It won't fall off, it won't leak if it's welded. The turbocharger itself is going to cost you at least $1,000. At least. That's eBay, high eBay quality. It's going to cost you $1,000. For oil lines, it may not cost you a lot of money because you can just make them. But getting a welder or and a fabricator to do it for you may take you 2 to 6 hours. So 2 to 6 hours of labor with premium prices like 130 an hour, that's some money that you could be using towards your build. Coolant line's the same way. Not to mention, you got to worry about the heating and all that sort of stuff when it comes to your block. Like, is your block still going to remain hot? Is your block going to be hot? Is your block going to be cold? What's the situation here?
There's so many variables.
You gotta like drill into the block sometimes to go do things. You gotta worry about that sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Then on top of that, we aren't even reaching opening up the engine. Pistons, rods. Bore and stroke, the condition of your engine, balancing your crankshaft, polishing your crankshaft, like all those different things. That's
degreeing the cam,
like degreeing the cam, like all that sort of stuff. Like that's all work that costs a lot of money, and it's like, it can, if you go get it done professionally, it'll cost you about 20 to 30 hours worth of work just to build the engine, not including the turbo kit. The turbo kit itself is going to cost you like 8 hours with like custom fabrication and everything. The software doesn't even involve a tuner. You also have to find a tuner that knows what they're doing. You also have to find a tuner that knows that platform specifically, and then you got to pay his rate. So in the end, it all just becomes a huge mess, and you end up with around $20,000 worth of mess. And if you that's
minimum.
That's without the labor. That's without labor. So in the end, it just ends up a huge mess. Not to mention, whenever I see like, oh, you should turbo it under NA builds, they can't just slap a turbo on it. They can't just slap a supercharger on it. Now, like, a supercharger is like a perfect example of like bolt-on plus. Like it's like you can just slap it on, and then all you need to do is just tune it and all that sort of stuff, and then it all like sort of works when you tune it.
Mm-hmm.
However, it's not that easy if you have an NA build. Like I said, NA builds run higher compression, they run higher advanced timing, they run all these different things, so you can actually like get the maximum amount of power on a naturally aspirated engine. And it's like you can't just slap a supercharger on something. You can't just add boost to something that has no room for it. It absolutely has no room for it. Doesn't matter what type of pistons you got, they're gonna bend. Like, they're gonna break. Like, the rods are gonna bend. Your bearings, they're gonna spin. They're gonna spin like nothing else. Purely because you stuck boost through something that has way too high of compression for it. You have to, generally, when people do bigger turbo upgrades, they generally have to do a decompression kit in order to run higher boost. If you want to run 22 pounds of boost on an originally NA vehicle, you are going to have to lower the compression ratio. If the compression ratio is like 13 to 1, you're probably going to have to lower that to like 10 or 9 or something. So you're going to have to rebuild, you're going to have to open up that engine all over again, even if you have a really strong NA build, because it's not meant for it. So boost is a trend, but it's like every other trend, it's unrealistic. And just like Weebs, it's unrealistic. And just like Juice WRLD and listening to Juice WRLD and expecting that listening to depressing music is going to help save you in a certain way, it's a fantasy, and it doesn't work. It doesn't work at all.
Look, we came back full circle. Look at that. Holy shit.
So just overall,
stop
being an idiot. Stop following like a freaking sheep. Stop following people like you're a sheep. Create your own ideas.
Stop expecting everything to work the way you want it to, because in the real world, it will not.
I mean, the biggest thing you can do is
work with what you got.
Is work with what you have. Like, there are things that you can change and things that you can't change. So you're gonna realize that there's a lot more things that you can change than you think. But what you also are going to realize is you can't do anything about the things you can't change. you can try to become influential to the point where those things become things you can change,
Mm-hmm.
but you need to work toward that instead of being all fucking depressed about how this girl dumped you and all this sort of stuff. That's something you can never change.
Yeah.
Is like somebody's mind. You're never going to be able to change that unless you do some manipulative stuff that ends up destroying you and the other person in the end.